We made a deal on 6 barn finds, and today this one is gonna run. Seriously. Hopefully. The brakes are stuck on it. Bad word! This might be my favorite so far. It's not a 50, 52 maybe? Yeah, it's a 52. Well, we're getting newer. That means it's a lot less miles, I'm sure. No. 1950. They were trying to sell it at one point. Well, it's not for sale anymore. Look at that hood emblem. Kind of neat just to stop for a minute and look at these old kind of cars. The Studebaker's almost like a fireball waiting to happen. Look at this thing. What is that? 68? 68, 4-door hardtop, 1 owner, $5,000. Today, it could be yours. This thing is large and in charge. 1977, 460. I bet it makes at least 200 horsepower. This one probably just needs a battery in it and a splash of some liquor. Yeah, it does. With that kind of 8-track in there, some Cavassier, some brandy, man, this thing be ready to rock. This era Chevy, the 49, 50, 51, 52s, I kind of struggle with. The grill will tell you what it is. This car is probably a stick. I wouldn't imagine it's a glide. Looking at it, it looks like it wouldn't take much to get going either. This old car was pretty sweet. But it's an old Chevy. Now this is number 2 of those 6, and this particular car is a 1950 Plymouth, and it hasn't ran in over 25 years. Now a while back we did start trying to get this thing started up, and you could say we kind of hit some snags. Awesome, the other front tire just locked up. It's all good. Y'all just keep plowing, mules, keep plowing. While we were trying to crank this thing, we noticed that we did have fire, but it just wouldn't hit, even with using multiple fluids like gasoline, some lacquer thinner, and even some starting fluid. That was a healthy shot. Ah, there we go. Oh. Sound like the starter's not meshing with everything. Stupid good old car. So with those type of kind of tasks taken care of, we had to dig a little bit deeper. And whenever you're working on stuff, you guys may know what I'm talking about. Whenever you're kind of going through the motions, just simply finding the problem can be pretty satisfying. The reason for it, well, now you know the issue and all you have to do is fix it. But the way we fixed this thing was a bit primitive. Man, if this works, this is going to be so awesome. We just rebuilt a set of points for a 50-mile-old Dodge using a set of points off of a small block Chevrolet. Not everybody would go about working on a car and using a hammer, but that's what I had to do. I kind of reached out to one of the old timers that I know, and he had told me, he said, yeah, just basically take a soft hammer, like a lead or brass hammer, and tap the valves down. You don't want to hit them hard enough to bend them, but you just need it to go down if possible. Now you don't want to have to be like wailing on it with a sledgehammer or nothing like that. So that's what we did. And it actually fixed the problem. Now, yeah, this isn't the normal way, but our only other option was to pull the engine out of this thing, and we weren't doing that. Now, this car will probably use a little bit of oil, and the motor will probably make some kind of little ticky noise, but guess what? They really and truthfully did that from the factory. So, what we're going to have to do today is basically put it back together, but before we start slapping the new parts on, I want to show you how this little motor works. Now with this thing, it's not an overhead valve. It actually has the valves beside the cylinders, and it's a flathead-six. What's unique about that is the head that sits on top of the motor is really and truly just a giant chunk of metal. And the block itself has the valves in it and the piston and the cylinders, of course. So whenever I take and hook the battery up on here, and whenever I turn the key, you'll watch all these little valves start dancing around along with the cylinders. Kind of wild and crazy. But let me show you what I'm talking about. So now our goal is to actually make it run and put it back together. So with the valves freed up, all we need now is a brand new head gasket. Now, some guys have told me that I could probably reuse the old one and just spray on some goop. But for $33, I just bought a brand new head gasket. The original one that I took off of it is a big old giant chunk of copper. So we're probably going to end up scrapping that thing, and maybe it'd be worth enough to buy me a piece of bubble gum. But yep, still got a big chunk of copper here on the back. But before you slap a gasket in, there's one thing that you always want to make sure of, and that is both surfaces are nice and clean. And I have scraped these and ground on them, sanded on them, that kind of thing. And so before we just put it together, I'm just gonna rub her down with some brake cleaner. This one's pretty clean. I've slathered her down a time or two. It almost looks like this thing may have had a leaking head gasket on it at one time. Luckily, this thing only goes on one way because of this thing. You got two holes here that you can see are on top of each other, and then these two up here are kind of leaning forward. So we just gotta match up what's what. It goes like that. This is definitely one of the moments that if you had a buddy, it would be super handy. You gotta lay over the top of this big fancy cart. I'll tell you what we gotta do. Ow. I'm gonna remove this hose, because if you noticed, I just whacked. Come on now. Isn't this exciting? That thing's making a cool sound. Now let's make sure there's no chunks and nothing laying on here. Yep. I should have weighed this thing. There she went. She just found her home. Yes, sir. Cool. Now, some of these I was noticing as I throw stuff in the floor that some of the threads, if you will, or bolts, pass through the water jacket, which means it was in the cooling system. And then some of these was actually kind of through the intake or something. Like it, whenever you blow air through the bolt hole that this thing was in the block, it would make noise through the carburetor. So to help seal everything up to ensure that we don't have any weird leaks, either through like a vacuum leak or something, we're gonna put a little thread sealant on all of these. Now in the past, I know some people, like, this isn't like a salesy thing by any means right now. I don't have anybody paying me to put like this type of junk on, but I'm curious, what do you guys call this stuff? Are you a thread sealer kind of guy? Are you a liquid Teflon kind of guy? Or you got other names for this junk? I've heard some people, you know, talk about using gasket maker and they call it monkey snot. And that's actually weather strip adhesive. And we all know, like, sometimes they have certain names, kind of like Loctite. Loctite is, you know, a brand, but it's a thread locker. But whenever you say, hey man, pass me the thread locker, it just sounds weird. But if you said, hey man, pass me the Loctite, it don't matter what brand you're using, you know you're gonna hand him the red or the blue. So what brand do you guys use? What do you call this stuff? Just curious. It's a little conversation for you. Now let's put all these 962 bolts in this thing. We'll try to get one started to kind of line up my gasket. I'm just gonna drop some of these in here. I'm gonna have to refer back to my phone because there is like one or two specialty type bolts. It's got some. Let's pick this up. There we go. Now started. Let's try this back one. Maybe there. Oh yeah. It's in there. This is gonna be kind of cool. Fire up this old car that's been here for as long as it is. Hadn't ran. You know, it's very satisfying. Fix things. Refer back to my photographs of, because I said, when I took this thing apart, I was like, it's gonna be a minute before I put her back together. This is gonna be so. I really am. I'm excited to see if this thing fired up. Sound like an old percolator. Kind of like the flubber car. Y'all know what I mean. This one's not gonna fly though. If it just runs and moves, that's gonna be an accomplishment. It goes right there. It goes in the front one. Cool. Photos do come in handy. This is the special one I was talking about. It's got a bolt that's actually in the head of it instead of just the regular head of the bolt. That's probably for the battery cable. And this thing didn't have the battery cable on it like that. But we're gonna put it together like correctly. So I'm gonna put this in here. I see what I did. I tapped all of those bolts holes. I run thread chaser through it, except for this one, because of it was a little more difficult to get, and I didn't put it back in there. I didn't chase it, so I got to do that now. And I got to clean this thing up. What? It is. Leave that open. Turn the light on. Kind of like narrating in my head like what I'm trying to do here. Y'all ever do that? It's almost like you're trying to talk yourself into something. Cool. Now what I speculate with this particular thing is this bolt is designed so whenever they put the car together, it would have a bolt that you could attach that battery cable to, that you could remove the battery cable without disturbing other things on the car. That thing, whenever I took it apart, had the battery cable on the water outlet, which could be in all reality factory, but problem with that is when you take that one bolt out, if you needed to change battery cable, because sometimes you know they corrode and that kind of thing, that you could cause the thermostat to start leaking. Doing it this way, you just simply unbolt it and bolt it back together. But I'm wanting to clean this thing up because I want a good connection for my battery. Now, hopefully I don't do that, which is okay if it just hits the workbench, but I don't want this to chunk it across the room. Or hit that pretty black car behind me. Or hit me in the face. Oh yeah, that should do it. Fixed it. Put my tools back up. Are you guys the type to put tools up when you're finished with them? I know I'm not the best. Mad Mike's not the best, but we do the best we can. Our fancy bolt into place. Start this thing so I don't lose it. This is difficult for no reason. Now, this is kind of a good idea whenever you're doing a cylinder head replacement or rebuilding an engine or anything like that, is to make sure the threads on your fasteners are all clean. One is so that everything torques properly and you don't run into any issues of twisting a bolt off or anything like that. That's a cool little ticky thing. I wish Hammerman was here right now. I'd have him working on these bolts. See? That bolt screws in there nice and easily. That's what you're looking for. Missing one though. Hope it's over here. Whew. That had me a little nervous. Not joking. Because you know, go find another bolt, head bolt for 50 Plymouth today. Because you want to make it work. It's not going to be the easiest. Heck yeah. Yep. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. Dadgum. It's going to take a minute. Let me do some quick searching here. And the internet says 65 to 70 foot-pounds and 40 to 50 pounds for a flathead V8 with aluminum heads. I mean everything. A flathead V8 with aluminum heads. I didn't know they had a flathead V8 with aluminum heads on this thing. Should we believe the internet's for this thing? For an engine with original cast iron heads, 65 to 70 foot-pounds. If using half-inch bolt, 90 foot-pounds may be appropriate for 15-bolt engines. This is not a 15-bolt engine. It's a 21-bolt engine. So, we're going to do that. 65 to 70 foot-pounds. And send it. Let me get my torque wrench. Yeah, if you remember when I said torque wrench, and then the next shot is me impacting them on there are going to be people that cringe. Here we go. Now, for those of you who are just kind of drew up a minute, because I'm using a impact to run these bolts in, all I'm doing is running them down. Kind of speed the process up. I'm not torquing them, just ever so slightly, and letting it do all the hard work for me. So calm down. Don't get you skibbies all in a bunch. You can send me some hate mail if you want to, but I don't even reach. There we go. So everything's basically just pulled down. Now it's time to torque it. So, as normally there's a torque sequence for a cylinder head or other components like that. So it said that it was supposed to go to 65-ish. So what I'm going to do is crank this thing to, whoa, not that much, like about 40, let's say about halfway there. And then it won't go that low. So we're going to have to go to 50. We'll start at 50. And then, I know I'm rambling here, I'm sorry. It's my first day. I had a socket right there. We're going to do a torque sequence of starting in the center and working out in a circular pattern. What that refers to is, this is the middle, then we're going to go, let's say here, here, no. Let's go here, 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 here. Then here, 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 so on and so forth. Kind of basically work from the center out. That helps to ensure everything kind of pulls down nice and evenly. Now this isn't going to work with my ginormous torque wrench because this silly thing isn't going to fit in there. So I'm going to have to put an extension on it, which is going to screw with the torque reading. So that means we will potentially have to go higher up on the torque wrench for it to torque at the rate that it needs to be. Because what happens is when you use one of these things, torque wrench, this type of thing, when you tighten the thing up, this isn't going to flex. Whenever you use an extension and you go to tighten things up, that torque or that extension actually has some flex in it, which will mean the incorrect torque level or amount is going to vary. So, but we're going to have to get this thing cinched down at some point, somehow. So we're just going to do the best we can with what we got to work with. There's one. Now them ones we pulled out were flat dab funky, to say the least. This has to be one of the easiest vehicles I've ever put spark plugs in. Granted, it's because they're sticking straight up, right up here on the top. I mean, just look at that. Crazy easy. Look at how that's going. Don't y'all hate them bolts that are like too easy with the wrench and too hard with your hand? Last one. I'm getting a little excited because this is going together pretty smooth. I shouldn't have said that now that I think about it, because that's always jinx it. Put those plugs in before I did anything else because I didn't want nothing to fall off into the engine. Yeah, I didn't want it to ruin my day. Now we got the little flippery thing going on. That works the throttle. We've got a return spring that goes somewhere. And this goes around chow like that. I don't remember what held that into place. I'll have to refer back to my photographs. Oh, got a couple of little bolts we got to put in. I don't know if it's the Red Bull this morning, the cup of coffee, or the excitement that I have from this car getting to start today. I think I should have took better photos. Oh, that's where that thing goes. Cool. This thing, I need these things. Go. Oh yeah. That one's in there. And then this one goes over here. We were just talking about those words or phrases for certain wrenches. I said, oh, I need to grab my gear wrench. Gear wrench is a name brand. They don't pay me nothing. But it's actually like a ratcheting wrench. Anybody ever said, gotta stop by the store and pick up some Clorox? And you bought the name brand, the store brand stuff? You didn't buy Clorox. Either way, I'm so glad I took a photo of this, but ow. Okay, that works. That's right by that dude. Gotta put our little air pin on there to keep that from coming off. That's mounted. You gotta put this thing in here, and then I think, oh, I gotta take that back out. This goes over there. Rookie. It's easy enough though. I have lost a bolt. These two bolts go in there. Gotta do a little straightening. That way maybe I can find all my junk. Wrenches all here. We really have. We're missing a bolt. I remember. Dropped it. Fell straight down. And I never could find it. Yeah, I remember that now. Let's go get a bolt. I don't know if you guys have an assortment of old junky bolts, but these are some old yucky ones. I'm hoping I can find one that's dirty, because I don't want to put a new bolt in it. I mean, you can if we got to, but look at that. See how funky that thing looks? You wouldn't see that on that motor. You'd be like, yep. Whoa, it's so crazy it's untouched. Wherever you put that thing in there, all of a sudden you're like, yep, obviously you lost a bolt. All right, we gotta liven things up a bit. So, I hope that thing's not stripped. It should have tightened up by now. Could have been worse. Could have been cross threads. I know what you mean. Nature's Loctite. See?
If you've ever cut your grass and found a car, you might be a redneck.
I gotta quit laughing about all those brands that I'm saying. It may be just from good old days when I was on TV and I was used to having to say all of those names. I'll say them again. Nowadays, I'll be the one getting paid. Look at that, folks. I didn't number them plug wires, but they've got a memory. They just remember where they need to go. And that's because they've been there forever. Yep. Put that R pin on it if I can find it, because I think I lost it. It's got a washer or two somewhere. Thermostat, a couple of hoses. Yeah. I've misplaced the little clip. I don't remember if it was a cotter pin, if it was a R-shaped clip. Sure would be great if I could find it. I mean, I can put a cotter pin in it, I guess. Let's put a battery cable on so we can put this water outlet on here. Probably be a good idea to put some dielectric grease in there. But I'm out, so I can't put it in there. I have to go to town, and for the sake of firing this thing today, that's what we're going to do. Clean up my water outlet over here. This is one of them little tasks that's kind of not very, like, sexy or fun. But it's crucial. You know what I mean by crucial is you're not a leaky water pump, a leaky water outlet, thermostat, housing, whatever you want to call it, is a pain. Like, it's just aggravating. Simple fix normally, it's not expensive, but necessary to repair if it has a problem. Now, one thing I found pretty interesting when I took this old thing apart was this giant thermostat. This thing's huge. And I did order a replacement one. Hoping it'd come loose. Golly. Well, crap. The one I got is a little different, looks like. And that's what I was afraid of. The way this thing looks. Yeah, because it did. This one fits in there. That hangs from the bottom. But that one had a port in it with a valve, because that thing would seal off in there. We're just going to put it together. It will bypass something in there, but it'll work. Y'all ever lose tools? You hadn't moved by like 5 feet, 4 feet, 2 feet. Look at that bright blue gasket right there, son. I need y'all's help. I have a half-used, half-leftover tube of RTV, which is like gasket maker. It always gets stopped up over here. How can you prevent that? The way I reuse this stuff is I poke a hole here in the side, and then I end up having to poke another hole in the side because that hole gets stopped up. So yeah, if you have a cool tip, please let me know. Alrighty, we'll poke a hole in that dude. This is messy. Did you know that they make this stuff in multiple colors? Make it in the orange color, they make it in blue, black, and clear. Do you know why they make it in blue and then why they make it in that orange color? So that those two colors are, you got to think about it, the very popular Chevy orange and Ford blue. I can't say it because of trademark reasons, but if you've ever used blue on a Chevy orange color motor or vice versa, notice how that stuff sticks out, just like loud looking. I usually prefer the black or the gray because it kind of blends in a little more. But if you have a Chevy orange motor and you use that orange type, it blends in really well. I don't use much of that blue. It's, you know, Ford related, because it usually makes your cars run slower. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. To all my Ford fans out there, I apologize. what is that old painter guy? Happy trees. This is happy thermostats. Yeah, you want happy thermostats.
Right now we just want some very soft, quiet little trees. Very quiet.
You don't want angry thermostats. Angry thermostats are bad. We want that good energy. Good energy is where it's at. Yeah. That should do it. That should be nice. Do this different. This is a messy job. Definitely a messy job. You getting there though? That bolt is started. And this bolt will be started. And then it's like frying chicken. Y'all know what I'm talking about? You got your batter hand, you got your pick your chicken up hand, you got your spatula hand. Next thing you know, got a mess on your hands.
The important thing is how to time it so neither one of you collapses.
I bet I look a little spooky right now. That light coming over me. That's weird. On this side, it just goes in, runs down. Is kind of in a unique spot, to say the least. So, I know it's hard to see what I'm doing, but maybe y'all don't mind sending me some good vibes. Can't forget the oil cap. I bought some new components because the old ones weren't the best. Cap, rotor, points, and so on and so forth. We could try to put them on there, or we could put them on there and it probably would run better. Or we could just dump gas in it and see if it'll start. I really don't know what I want to do. Most people would say, let's just put gas in, let's get it fired up. But if I'm going to fix it, I should just fix it. So let's just fix it. Yeah. Just kind of want to see if my points will work. Be kind of cool if it did. Finally ready to dump gas in it again, and sitting here thinking about it. Don't know exactly what's going to happen, except for if it does start, it's going to probably smoke. So I need to open the back door up, and I need to squirt in a little bit of this fuel, and we can essentially see if this thing's going to light. Now we've worked on it, a good little bit here. Tinkered on the motor, played with the ignition system, so on and so forth. All we can do is try. May end up having to open that up all the way. But you never know. Maybe it won't. Maybe she'll just light off and purr like a kitten. Can't even hear it run. But who are we kidding? Did all that work? Still nothing. Still nothing. we're gonna get some ether, because it's a little more excitable. Give her a roll. Nothing. This thing ain't even hitting. Let's just double check our firing. I'm not spoiling them plugs out. Set this dude over here. Let's see what it does. Shoo. Stuff smells like wasp spray. Now I know the man told me one of the next things you could do, which was odd, but he said you might have to pull it off, meaning you might have to drag it behind another vehicle or something with it in gear to let all that stuff work and it turning over at a higher rate of speed to kind of limber everything up, which is interesting to me. Yeah, this is wild. So the next thing I can do is just that. I got a tow truck and I can hook my tow truck up to it, put it in gear, and drag it. This is kicking my butt. We're gonna get it going. Darn thing. Knock her out of gear. That's all it needs. Now this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna put this thing into first gear and then take it and drive it around. And what that's gonna do is, with it in gear, the rear axles and the drive shaft is going to cause the engine to keep turning. Yep, rear wheels are moving. Being able to do that will let it kind of like limber it up and kind of, stretch it, exercise it a bit. I don't know if this is really going to work, but it makes sense because that stuff was all gummed up, and putting a little heat in that motor, getting everything kind of moving around, well, should be good for it. And I know I'm getting tired of getting kicked in the stomach. I'm ready for this old Plymouth to start. Now, if all goes well, Pop's old clunky wrecker here won't run out of fuel. It won't break down and all that kind of stuff. It hadn't run in a minute. It hadn't had a bath in a minute. But I can tell you this thing has saved me on a bunch of occasions. Oh, geez. So we're going to do a little working on this thing. Curious to see. Now, after that little trip. Here we go. Held his shot in there. Set that down there. Come on, good Lord, be good to me. Make sure it's in neutral. Mug. Try this again. Making some progress. If you notice, whenever it was turning over, it was like making its noise and going, whoop, then doing it, and then whoop. Well, that's telling you that we have some cylinders that are firing, and it's just not enough of them yet to make it run. So, it's getting long in the day, and I'm thinking I'm gonna call it. I'm done. Like, we're gonna have to do more of something. So, may need to go for another hot lap in this thing. So yeah, kind of defeated. Even more defeated now.